Headed to the hotline for our weekly conversation with the driver of the number 31 Exide Batteries, Wolfpack Rental Chevrolet on the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Also periodically, the number 30 ABF Nationwide Chevrolet at Richmond this past weekend. James Buescher. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
So, do you actually have a weekend off this weekend?
I do, and I'm actually staying home for the whole weekend.
Wow. How did that happen?
I don't know. I almost considered going to Darlington. I was actually really considering going to Darlington, and just decided to stay home for the weekend and just relax a little bit before we get racing, a lot here shortly. So I think the next 2 weekends I have 4 races, so I'll just take this weekend off and relax and get ready to go.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea. 4 races in the next 2 weeks for sure. Let's talk a little bit about last Friday night. I know not necessarily the night you had hoped for at Richmond, huh?
Definitely not. For whatever reason, we couldn't hit on anything in our ABF Chevy. We struggled worse than I could ever imagine struggling. And, it was from the time we unloaded to probably halfway through the race. But by the time we finally got the car to drive sort of okay halfway through the race, we had already lost a ton of track position and lost a couple laps. So it was pretty much too late to say we had hit on something. But our lap times did pick up at the end of the race, so that's good. And we actually got the thing to turn and to have a little bit of grip. So it was a pretty frustrating weekend for us, but we build off of that, and the fact that we finally got it good is a good thing. We just needed to get it good sooner, and it needed to be good when we unloaded, where it would have made for a stress-free weekend and a solid weekend for us. But you don't always get what you hope for.
It's really tough to reinvent the wheel once you're at the racetrack, isn't it? We were talking to somebody earlier this week that basically said when you arrive at the racetrack, you're within a tenth and a half, good or bad, from where you're going to end up for the rest of the weekend, and there's really not a darn thing you can do about it.
I agree with that. The rules are so close and so tight, and you have such a narrow window of things you can change now, especially in the Nationwide Series more than the Truck Series. To get your splitter heights where they need to be and to get the travels that you need to have, you're in a smaller box than we've ever been in. And, it didn't matter what we did to that car. We could not get it to handle better. At one point in practice, we changed both front springs and the right rear spring and a sway bar and 2 shocks all at one time.
All at once?
Do anything.
Holy cow. That's a yard sale right there. Parts flying in every direction.
And a truck arm adjustment all at the same time.
Man.
It didn't matter what we did, but we just couldn't get the thing to go around the track good. But, it just made for a stressful weekend. And, we finished the race not near as good as what we hoped for going into the weekend, but we improved a lot on our qualifying position to our finishing position, and we finished the whole race. So, the car didn't have a scratch on it, so I guess that is one good thing.
Yeah, for sure. For our listeners that don't spend their weekends working on race cars, ordinarily the idea is to make one adjustment at a time so you don't, get completely crazy and not know how to get back to where you were or why the car is doing what it's doing. When you're making all those changes at once, that means, boy, we've really got to throw something at the wall to see what sticks.
That means you're almost out of practice time, and none of those one-at-a-time changes were working.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it. It's all right, boys. Panic! Let's go. Do
Exactly.
something. Wow, that's not good. All right, so not going to the racetrack this weekend. I know that doesn't mean you're not doing anything at all this weekend, though, because, other people will make plans for you, right?
Absolutely. There's never just a weekend of nothing at all. I think that goes for everybody. So, I'm going to spend the weekend with my fiance's parents out of their house for Mother's Day and just have a nice, relaxing weekend at home.
That sounds like a really good plan when you've got 4 races in the next 2 weeks. And as we know, we keep talking about it like some far off, something on the horizon. But the Truck Series we promise, the Truck Series will get busy here eventually.
It will sooner or later. We race next Friday in Dover, and then the following Friday in Charlotte. So that's 2 races that I'm really looking forward to. I really like both those racetracks, so I'm looking forward to getting back in the truck. And I feel like we had a pretty solid finish at Nashville, and hopefully we can build some momentum off of that. But having 2 weeks off, that just gives the guys more time in the shop and more time not traveling and more time to get out of the rhythm that they were getting into. So hopefully we can bounce right back into that rhythm at Dover and have a good run.
Okay, absolutely. Sounds like a plan to me. All right, my friend, enjoy your weekend off. Do whatever it is you want to do instead of what you have to do for a while here, and we'll talk again next week. Thank you.
All right, sounds great.
It's James Buescher, Exide Batteries, Wolfpack Rental Chevrolet on the Camping World Truck Series when they get back in action next week.
Finally.
On the Monster Mile at Dover.